This is an amazing event. We have so many talented people here who have a lot of different creative pursuits in that, and this is the opportunity not only to show up, but to have people come in from the rest of the community to see that just how lively and wonderful this place really is. Well, thanks a lot. See you tomorrow. Very good. You should do that. That's a very good thing to do.
And you know, I try to keep my prices to where they're reasonable, and then half the money that is made, tomorrow, will go back to the ceramic studio. So the other one goes to my clay addiction.
Yeah.
Yep, I've been making pottery since 2006, and I never ever, if you had said to me, "Oh, I'm sure that's what you're going to do," I'd say, "No, absolutely not. Too dirty, too messy." And I took one class, and I was covered from head to toe in clay, mud. That's the color of here. I had to go home and wash everything, wash my hair, but I had the best time, and that was it. One class, and I was hooked. Well, been doing ceramics since 2006. Caught the bug. Did a year and a half at Palomar doing different things, and had a little bit of a hiatus, but when I came here and found out that they had a pottery studio, I was jazzed. So I've just dove in both feet, and we have a good group of people, and it's just a lot of fun. And I always say it's cheaper than psychotherapy, and it keeps me off the streets. From start at the wheel, just putting a piece of clay down and trying to figure out what you want to do, to the time that you see things like this, it can take up to 2 weeks because there's many steps to it. This is a mid-fire, cone 5-6 range, and so you need to make your piece, dry your piece, then you need to fire the initial firing. It's called a bisque firing to harden up the clay. And then once you have that, then you can apply the glazes to it, and then you have to do it at a higher temperature to make that glaze turn into the glassy texture that you see. So it takes a while. Even the glazing and the bisquing can take up to a 24-hour cycle, because you have to load the kiln, let it heat up, fire for the range, cool down, and then cool to, for me, my preference is cool to room temperature. And then you wait, what I call Christmas, when you get to open the kiln and you see what you made. So we have Christmas a lot over there.
Hello, my name is Dee Dee Young. I am this year's chairwoman for the art show, and these were just a few of the things that I've made and my friend Robin has made. The ceramics class is wonderful and it's very relaxing, and if any of you have not been doing ceramics and say, "I don't know how," just know that if you can make a pie crust, you can make a ceramic plate. It's really enjoyable, it's soothing, and we have a lot of fun. One of the things that you'll find is every piece that you'll see in this video will be by different people, and everybody has a different talent, so you'll be seeing a lot of difference. The show this year is setting up to be really wonderful. We're really happy the way it's going. Hopefully you get to come see it tomorrow, and please come see us. Thank you very much.
It seems we have a lot of people with some very creative hobbies, some skilled people with their hobbies. So everybody seems to have found new things to do with their spare time. Okay.
That is microwave safe, dishwasher safe.
This Christmas setup was made by Robin. She's one of our class members. This is a mold. You take liquid clay and you pour it into a mold, and then this is also part of the mold, and it comes from a different part. Then you take it out of the mold, and all you have is plain clay. And you have to clean it up, and then after that it dries a little bit. Then after that we take it and we put it together like this, and we fire it in the kiln for the first bisque firing. Then you take it apart, you paint it whatever you want, so you make it your own. And you make all of this your own with glazes. Then we take it back, we put it back in the kiln for the second time, and then you come out with this beautifully glazed Christmas object. Santa is wonderful this year.
Now there's a stop here that keeps this from moving a certain way.
Okay.
So you can move this around and it stops.
Hello, I'm Mary Hall, and I do acrylic and watercolor, sometimes pen and ink. All of these birds are my favorite, and luckily they belong to people already, so I was able to bring them back for this show.
Building up your anticipation.
Hi, my name's Lori Sandstrom. I started painting probably back in 1995. I graduated with a fine art degree, but it was in graphic design. My style is very graphic. I fell in love with dots in my paintings, originally because I loved beadwork, and the beadwork was too frustrating for me. So since I was painting, I thought I'd try to put the dots on canvas. So some of my paintings are just pure dots. I might have as many as 40,000 dots in one painting, some more depending on the size. This tree of life was originally 4 feet by 3 feet, and if you counted the dots in that one, I think it was upwards of 60,000 dots in it. Some of my dots are color on color just to give you texture. So I used to work at the San Diego Zoo, and I started doing animals. I was inspired by doing animal paintings, and that's where a lot of these animals come from. And the zoo actually still carries some of my work, and they're on sale online, and so that's pretty exciting. Then I have some original paintings over on this other side. I love mandalas, so I thought I would do a few mandala paintings. So this one, I call, it looks like a dream catcher in a way to me. And so this is a mandala, something that you could meditate to if you wanted to. And then this one is made up of lots of mini mandalas. And I call this Mission Beach because I came up with this sketch while I was sitting in a restaurant overlooking the ocean. So think that's about it. That's my work in dots.
All my love and enjoyment is all across this table. I make it from my heart, and I hope you enjoy them.
They look great. How long have you been doing this?
At least 7 years, maybe longer. I kind of lost track.
How long does it take for you to create it?
Oh, it depends upon, you know, you get a lump of clay and you pick out, some of them are with molds, you know, some of them are freehand. And so it depends upon that. You know, freehand, you could just roll it out and shape it up and put it in the kiln. And the molds, you have to put it in the mold and let it dry some, and then put it in the kiln, and then you paint them. Yeah, so that's hand weaved.
Yeah?
Yeah. I put it over. It was something, and then I weaved it. So yeah. I think I have more fun making them, and then when you see them afterward, I did that. I don't believe it. Luckily, I was a hairdresser for many, many years, and so color was not a problem. It's designing the the shapes that I had to start out learning to do. But I think I've done pretty well, you know. You see, this one here, you roll it out, and it on a you know, like a rolling pin that's got the decorations on it, and then I shape it, you know, whatever happens. And if it, you know, if it needs to be trimmed, I trim it a little bit, and then so because this thing had a lot of leaves, I made the whole thing, you know, look like a leaf, right? Yeah.
Well, it looks like fun. You're having a good time.
Yeah. Like I said, all my heart and soul is there, and I love every minute of doing it, especially when somebody buys it, it makes me feel very good that it's valued.
She'll come back. Yeah. Because I have one lady that wants these. These are missing. Right now, I'm done my thing. Okay. Yes.
It looks like little, I don't know what they are, beads or something.
Hi, I'm Lori. I've been in Oceana about 10 years. I'm a craft person. I love tiddling with my fingers. I was in dentistry for 45 years, so that's finger work. This stuff, I'll begin one and I'll work on it, and then I'll set it aside and I'll continue working on something else until I get it where I want it. I love having a venue like this to be able to sell. We need to talk about doing this maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I'll help run it.
I have all handmade crocheted items, hats, scarves, dog sweaters, little cup cozies and headbands and a little of everything. A wine bottle, there's my wine bottle.
Year and a half I haven't been able to paint.
And you can see what each of these are made out of. It's recycled. Recycled items. These are water bottles.
That's exactly what I need.
And over here, potatoes. Here is fabric. All different kinds of fabric. Picture frames are made out of fabric, left over. And those are beer and pop cans.
How long have you been making recycled products?
About 20 years or so. As soon as the recycling stuff got popular, I started working, see what I could make out of what I had at home. I tell my husband, don't throw away any of this, don't throw away any of that, because I also taught a class in the nursing home, and to the more alert patients. And one day he says, why don't you just take all the garbage and we can fire the garbage man.
Well, it's real good looking stuff, especially for recycling.
Well, when you see what it's made out of, and it serves a dual purpose, takes care of some recycling, and very attractive. I don't wear my jewelry anywhere that somebody doesn't stop me and say, where do you get your earrings? So that's how I got started doing shows.
Bone beads?
Yes.
I'm new to lapidary. I've been in lapidary for about 2 months, and it took about 2 months to tumble all these stones. So then I took them and I glued a bail to them. So you can buy them and use them as a necklace. See, I'm wearing one. And this is sea glass.
I love it.
Yeah, it's neat.
There's no pattern. They're 9-inch squares and strips, and not all of them are square. They're all wonky.
I love it. That's the name of it. Yeah, I love that.
Hi, I'm Sue Moore. My husband gave me a quilting class gift membership about 15 years ago, and I took off from then. I'd never quilted before, and I fell in love with it. So here we are. We have baby quilts, regular quilts, pot holders, and everything in the world you can quilt. And I love to do it, and I hope that everybody enjoys it when I give it to them.
How long does it take to make?
I can make a simple quilt within the week, and I can take 6 months making one that's hand quilting. So there's no real good answer. There's little ones like this that could be used as a doll quilt or anything else. And there's pot holders that take me a half an hour. So just depends upon what I've got in the house, because mostly it's scrap fabric. Don't buy a lot, but I sure do enjoy doing it.
I've been doing great.
Yeah, have you been selling?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Good.
sold a lot of stuff.
Okay, what you got?
I make wire wrap rings while you wait. You just pick your bead, the color of wire you like, and we find out what your size is, and I make it for you within 3 to 5 minutes.
I think this is just terrific to be able to get the people together, all the people with paintings and any kind of art you want on the local level. it never really was part of any organization or anything until about 6 or 7 years ago. And so at that point, it was going in and competing against other carvers at these carving shows. And of course, you have to start out as a novice. And you have to be a novice until you can walk away with 5 first place ribbons in one category. From that point, you can go to the next step, which is advanced, and you can go in that until you obtain another 5 ribbons.
That means you got too much junk, Lori.
In different fields. And then you go to expert. And expert would be, you'd have to have at least 8 ribbons, but all in different categories. And of course, these are all, they're approved by, like Virgil, you know.
Yeah.
He has to sign off on it, that he's seen it, he knows I did it. Those go up to the regular, up in Sacramento, wherever their headquarters are.
And what's your favorite piece here on the table?
Well, I think for whimsical, I think this is my cutest. I just, you know, love it. First of all, I had done this dragon right here, which was rather tricky. The wings are out of one thing and body out of another than the base. For all my cards, this is my favorite. Most trickiest to do would have been this right here, because with this crab you have to have everyone has to have 3 parts to it and a joint. 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, and a joint. Mouth, eyes, and the fiddler. And this one here is the opposite of the fiddler, but this is the feeder. So this one here is what they feed their mouth with after they've captured their prey with this. For me, it's an outlet. My wife gets rid of me, I go out in the garage and hide.
He spends a lot of time in the garage.
Polish the stone. The glasses are the powders. Are the magnets? Yeah, they're all magnets.
I'm Pat McCardle. I actually grew up in this area but left for about 40 years, and now I'm back living in Paradise. And I am an artist and a writer now, retired diplomat and former naval officer. And some of these paintings and photos I have are from places I've lived and have to do with my official assignments. Like this one, I was in Afghanistan for 5 years, or not for 5 years, I was for a year in 2005. And filmed these horsemen in, it's called the Buzkaji game, where they run around trying to grab a dead goat and carry it around the field. It's quite exciting, so I really like this photo. And the other ones, this is a painting I did in Corsica, an island off France. And I have little kids then, but in my very limited spare time, there was this window in our rental house that looked out over the village, so I did that painting. This is a pastel of my brother. A lot of people think it's me, but it's a pastel of a photo I took of him about 30 years ago when he was a beachgoer and surfer and everything. I was a naval officer, and my first and only overseas assignment was 3 years in Morocco at a secret communications base. So I got to travel a lot. This is in the 70s. It was very safe. And this is from a photo I took of a Berber girl way up in the Atlas Mountains. And it's a watercolor. And this girl's about 15 and she's about to get married. She's in her bridal clothing. And they paint, their faces are actually painted with permanent paint, so, and their hands with henna. And this is my dog, former dog, Cupid. And that was the first time I did a pet portrait of Cupid. It was this great showing, she could smile. She had you could see this big smile.
It's so intricate, it doesn't look like initials. It looks like an embellishment. It could be, well, maybe. You know, but I see a W.
Yeah, that's what I see. And that's what I thought was
when
American
you say
watch.
it's initials, then you could see the AW, or maybe AAW.
Could be
two A's.
However you want to interpret the.
Right. But it's so intricate that it does look like an embellishment. And it probably,
just leave it on.
would enhance the watch.
Could be. Most ones I see in the store. I mean, in the store online.
How long does it take you to make them?
Well, each one is different, it's all according to how much work I want to put into it, what I think the stone looks like, and and be creative from this is sawed and filed, and then there's a lot of embellishments on that one, something like that is just plain, the stone in the setting. So it's really, maybe something like this would take about 2 hours. Something like that would probably take, 3 or 4. It's all according to the embellishments that are put into it.
This is bigger than
We were in San Francisco and we were walking back from something we went to, and I saw this, what looked like trash on the sidewalk. And I realized it's a guy laying there. And that, with the picture in the background, was such an interesting composition, I had to take a picture without, really taking a full frontal picture because I didn't have his permission or anything. I was in graphic design school, and I took a couple of art classes in between when things were slow. We had to do a painting using solid colors, monochromatic colors. So I had this picture I wanted to copy, but it was kind of boring, so I put a little surrealism in there with the stuff. It was Johnson doing his war and poverty thing, talking to these people down in Kentucky. So I wanted to try and make the feeling that we're all interconnected. That's why I called it white shirts and socks. But I also found out later on that I couldn't sell it if I wanted to because anything of Johnson is owned by the Johnson family automatically. They put a copyright on it.
I'm Carol Finkas. I've been a professional artist for about 20 years and a teacher. And these 3 paintings are a very interesting technique. They are watercolor, but they are done on canvas. So they are rather unusual, not too many artists do it. And I had a wonderful time playing with this particular medium because it gave me a lot of new challenges. This one is a photograph I took in the Caribbean. This one was from a photograph on the coast of, it was along the coast in Europe, we'll put it that way. And this one, my dad was a cowboy in Wyoming, and this looked like the country he was from. And then I have 3 more on the other side.
You do? You have what?
3 more paintings.
Oh, let's
on the
go
other
there.
side. Okay.
I knew you did.
Birds of a feather are 3 ostriches, and when I arrived in Africa, these 3 friends looked in the window of our van and just stared at me. I took a picture of them, and I finally got them onto watercolor paper. This one was an elderly gentleman somewhere in Israel or Egypt, and I can't remember which. It was the same trip, so all I could do was look at the date. And golden sails, I don't know, we always love golden sails in the sunset. Favorite song, and so I decided I would paint golden sails.
I understand you do more than painting. Are you selling jewelry or anything else?
Yeah, and it'll be out in a few minutes.
Okay, I'll come and find you then.
Okay.
All right.
Double-sided is over here.
Okay, I have quite a collection because I've done this for years. I'll have some cards that are made from my paintings. And then I have some original, they can either be a pendant or they can hang on the wall. And they're all made from found pieces from nature. So they're called the sea. Earrings, and I have quite a few different ones, are designer stones. They're lots of fun, and I'm able to make them very inexpensively. I have some bracelets that are made from clamshells. Sea glass jewelry. Designer stone hearts. Trivets. These are what we call treasure necklaces because they each have a collection of treasures. And finally, these are all miniatures of paintings that I have done at different times, so they're all original. And that's been all the fun I've had.
Good afternoon, my name is Evelyn Thomas. I'm honored to participate in the Oceana Art Show. This is my first year, and I'm inspired by all the different artists, the different mediums that they're using. I'm a beginner. I usually work in charcoal pencil, but I did a little acrylic painting this time around, and I'm beginning at that. These are my 2 sketches that I did over a year ago, but on artist paper, but I transferred them to canvas. And I'm still working on how to learn how to do the shadings and different things like this. And I'm also did some acrylic paints over here. Got some on the other side too. Okay, right here. All right. So these are, I prefer these more because I actually like the work that I did, but I'm still learning the process on how to create branches on trees and do the different moonlights and create different shading within the water, the trembling, the trickles. But like I said, I'm a beginner and I'm learning, and I'm inspired by all the artists here, and I'm honored to participate. And thank you for doing this. Thank you.
What's used to being around gunfire and cannon fire, I mean, the horse was better than all the people.
Where was it? Somewhere in California?
Yes, that was up in Mariposa County. Hi, I'm Lori Cole. I've been a photographer for very many years. I mostly worked up near Yosemite. So therefore, I was also a member of a group of artists, and we had a weekly photography and portrait and painting group that met once a week, and so a lot of my portraits come from that day. I have also been taking landscapes, like this one in particular. This one's called Commanding the Field. It was done at a Civil War reenactment out in Mariposa County. And you can see that they had real cannons and everything else. It was a very exciting day. Most of my portraits, though, as I said, came from the models that we had at the studio. We had an old schoolhouse that had been built in the 1860s that we had for our clubhouse. And so therefore we'd have the model come in once every Friday. We'd have that for people to paint, or in my case, take pictures of. And this is one of the artists. Jack Lance was one of the most excellent artists that was a member of our group. And he was very, very good at doing Rembrandt type works and that. And then every year at Christmas time, we would have models come in like this one, Father Christmas. This was my favorite model, Wayne Boring. He loved to dress up, and he had this wonderful Father Christmas costume that he could wear every year and would go to various, organizations and help people just celebrate Christmas, his Father Christmas. We have, this is a stream of light I took up near Yosemite on one of the plein air group days where we went out into the middle of the backwoods and did painting, or in my case did more photography out there in the Sierra mountains near Yosemite. And this one, which I called the bride, was yet another model who came in, and she modeled off this antique wedding gown, which was just absolutely fabulous. And she was so striking with her pose that I really thought she was beautiful. She is one of my favorite of my works. And then I've also done still lifes, and I do just about everything, so that's what I do.
Hi, we're over here right now with some of Paula McDonald's pieces. She makes these by hand in the ceramics class. She has wonderful talent. All of these, she made all of this in slabs, cut these out, applied them, we fired them, she painted it, we glazed it, we fired it again, and it makes a great wall pocket. She has beads on it for the top for a little decoration, and it's just really a pristine, beautiful piece. Down below we have another piece. It's a little wall pocket, and she has made these little flowers and applied them after she folded this over with the clay. She also put in the wonderful little holes to hold the strings that will hang it up. This one has a hole in the back of it, and it's beautiful with the little flowers that she has in it. She picked orange for the time of year and this wonderful green stem, and it has kind of an off-white look to the clay. All of these pieces have been made by hand, rolled out, folded, applied, cut out, and then painted and then fired twice. So to go into ceramics it takes a lot of time to get one piece finished. These are wonderful chimes that she's made. And all of the macrame that she did here is also part of her work. In here you see the ceramics that she made, the beads, the wonderful butterflies she cut out, painted herself. Then we come over here and she has another one, and this is in grays, and she made the beads for this one and put them in her macrame. All of these have been made by hand by Paula McDonald. This one's wonderful, black with these beautiful orange butterflies. This one here, you have a great piece, and they have different color beads, which is quite striking. Would look great in any of our atriums. And then back here, we have more of a simple one, less beading, but she did put in smaller beads for her color points. So this is Paula's work.
This is a music box, and those two in the front are music boxes.
This is wrong. This table is wrong.
What? This is a puzzle box.
Yeah, you made that puzzle box.
Yep. I
Dang,
assembled
man, I
it.
used to love those things.
It's from a kit, so I could never build this on my own.
Yeah.
Because this is so complicated that I have to use a crib sheet. Did you see that pop? It was resisting a little bit there. There we go. Now, these locks have been released, which means I can now open this.
Hello, I'm Pat Christie, and I've been doing ceramics in Oceana for probably the past 10 years. I have taken 2 classes at MiraCosta College in ceramics before coming to Oceana. And my specialty is hand-built things. I do not use the wheel, even though I have used the wheel at MiraCosta College, because you must use the wheel before you can graduate. But I prefer hand-built. And I'm trying to look, let's start over here. This is some clay that was rolled out and flat, and then it was put over a mold that was made out of plaster. And so the mold actually sucks the water out of the bowl, and then I remove it as it dries, and I set it down, and I can, cut it and decorate it, and cut it, really, not decorate it, and then it goes to the first firing, which is in the greenware stage, and then it comes out, and then I can paint it. This is high fire clay, really medium fire clay. It goes to cone 5, and I chose this clay as opposed to low fire clay because of the really interesting colors you get, beautiful colors. And it goes to cone 5, and it's very rugged, which is one of the best things. And they also make a porcelain that goes to cone 5, and this plate or bowl was done the same way. It was put over a mold, and then the plaster sucked the water out of it, and then it was fired and then painted and fired at cone 5. And the porcelain does quite well. I also use a porcelain clay that is mixed with paper. So it's a porcelain paper clay, which is much easier to work with because porcelain has a tendency to crack and is kind of known to be a difficult clay. But when they add paper into it, it gives the porcelain more room to dry properly without cracking, and makes it much more fun to do porcelain. This bowl was stamped first, and then it was put over a plaster mold, and then removed, and a hole was put in because this is going to be a planter. And I have another planter right here. This planter was a flat piece of clay that I kind of bunched up a little bit and kind of liked the shape. And then it had the same process as far as being fired, being painted, and then being fired at a hotter temperature. And sometimes one of my favorite things that I've always loved is large bowls. This is actually quite one of my smaller large bowls, but this is made out of porcelain. It's extremely light. It has porcelain and paper, and it follows the same process. And I think I've probably pretty much told you everything you need to know.
And please come to our ceramics class. It is the best hobby in the whole world. I love it. I just really love it. And it's a great group of ladies, and sometimes we have gentlemen. And you could try it out for free. We have free clay, free glazes. And if you like it, then you can invest in some clay. And we have some of the most brilliant artists there. Thank you.
So these are dog walking sets. So you got a little sweater for your dog, you got a hat for you, and then you have fingerless gloves for you. And this is a yarn bowl. You put your yarn in there when you're knitting and it comes out this hole, so then your ball doesn't get away from you. So I combined the two, knitting and ceramics. This is the dog sweater, so the feet come out here, and then the head comes out here with the turtleneck. And then this is just the back. And then this is the hat for the human to wear, so we know who the dog belongs to. And these are fingerless gloves. So your fingers, it keeps your hands warm, but you still can use your fingers. And this one is a cable. This one's for a little dog with a cable stitch.
No, there really isn't. Thank you.
So you got your hat. So you can be all fashion conscious with your dog. Or cat.
Yeah,
This one's a cowl. Cowl scarf that just goes over your arms. And then it's got a hood that goes over your head. And then it's got gloves to match it too. We have a couple of individual chip and dip bowls, so you can take this and sit in front of the TV and have your dips and chip right there. And ceramics I just started after they opened again. I used to do ceramics as a teenager, but I never threw pots. So Lynn, that I think you've already interviewed, is the teacher, and she's a very good teacher. And so I just started throwing these in July. So and I got my. And then I do a lot of these sweaters and things for cancer patients and for the Humane Society. So